So dry food should be kept in a cool, dry place out of reach of hungry mouths. We normally recommend keeping the food inside the bag so you have access to details such as the best before date and the feeding guidelines. Then roll up the bag, seal it, and pop it into an airtight container suited to storing food, and then pop it in a cool, dry place. If you're using wet food, then once you've opened it, it should be kept refrigerated and used within 48 hours. So it's not uncommon to see a reduced appetite during the warmer weather. And that's much like us people. You know, some of us do find we don't want to eat as much or as frequently during the warmer weather. So what you can do to help this is try feeding first thing in the morning and last thing at night when it's cool. Don't be alarmed if your dog is a bit reluctant to eat. Again, we often feel the same way in this hot weather. You can also add water to the kibbles and soak them slightly, which can be beneficial to get some water into your dog if perhaps they're a bit reluctant to drink when it's hot and sunny. Or alternatively, wet food can be a good choice because it's got a slightly higher moisture content of around 70%, which can be beneficial. And as well, again, said it before, you know, always leave your dog fresh, clean water so they have constant access to this if they need to rehydrate. So firstly, plan and monitor the weather forecast in advance, especially if you're thinking of traveling or you have any activities planned. Now, the weather forecast can change and it's not always 100% accurate, but can give a good indication of the temperature and the weather. As well, know what's normal for your dog in these conditions. And do be mindful that certain breeds may suffer more in the heat than others. So overweight dogs may be more at risk of heat stress and heat stroke than others. And lastly, you know the signs of heat stroke and know how to act quickly and appropriately if there ever is such a situation. So some owners like to provide a small, shallow paddling pool for their dog to stand in, paddle in. It doesn't have to have a lot of water in if you're trying to keep your dog a bit drier, but a small amount of cool water so they can get in and cool off. Just make sure you supervise them when they're using this. And as well, allow them constant access to fresh, clean water. Now, this should apply all year round, but especially so during the warmer weather. As well, ensure they have free access to shade and try to discourage them playing in the heat. So try not to throw balls and toys during the heat. So it encourages them to lay down and rest in the sun or outside of the sun. As well, cooling mats can be laid out around the house. So these can be purchased from pet stores. And a dog can lay on them and help them cool off if they're feeling too hot. Okay, so firstly, make sure you walk first thing in the morning and last thing at night, but only if it's cool enough. If you can't walk barefoot on the pavement, then it's likely to be too hot for your dog to walk on. And if you do need to miss a walk, it's often safer to miss one than it is to try and force them on a walk. So if they don't want to go, don't make them. But if they do, go in the coolest parts of the day. As well, try to discourage playing when it's too hot. So for example, don't throw balls and toys in the heat. Try and encourage them to lay down and rest when it is warm. And as well, they should have constant access to fresh, clean water, which again applies all year round, but especially so during the summer. As well, with their food, some owners like to soak the dog's kibbles and pop them into things like Kongs, pop them in the freezer and use them as a refreshing snack for their dogs. Or if you're a wet food feeder, you can spread wet food into one of those licking mats and pop it in the fridge or freezer. And again, this can be a sort of a cooling snack for your dog.